Singapore is a, shall we say, a work of art contributed by our neighboring countries. Our whole history is wound together with our neighbors, and the same thing that happens with our architecture and our urban design. My education in those days was not NUS, it was University of Singapore. I must say the architectural education of the late 70s, I graduated in 1982. I remember when in first year, Jack Tan he was running the first year studio. And my, did he drum it into us. That sense of determination, the sense of you have to grow a thick skin if you want to be in architecture. Besides that, I think he imparted to us this sense of wanting to push for the clarity of our ideas. What exactly do you want to achieve with your design? The clarity of the design intention was very good. And secondly, of course, the determination to do everything well.
I joined the school in 1990, I think, 89, 90. And during that time, the school is kind of like still quite traditional. So a lot of emphasis on building buildable buildings. At that point of time, there was a new tutor who came on board, Tan Teck Yam. And he was a little bit of a rebel. So it was very funny because year one, the first day, he teach us deconstruction. So, I mean, we were all so new to architecture, we didn't even know, what architecture is about. And then this guy threw us into a really deep end. In retrospect, I felt that really had a big impact on me as a designer. I see that the NUS School of Architecture today is really pushing the students to be very creative. I was especially impressed with the way that the multimedia sort of way of presentation, the students are very, very experimental, and they are so much stronger in graphic illustrations. I even see some students practically looking like they belong more to the visual communication than architecture, because they can draw so well, and they basically illustrate more the narrative than the architecture, which I find fascinating and very, very encouraging, because I think this is what architecture is about. Architecture is not just about training you to build. I think architecture is about training you how to think creatively and solve problems creatively. And in particular, I think what I am grateful for my architectural education is that it really taught me how to conceptualize and transform, as I say, words, narratives, concepts from paper into a 3D.
I was in the Architecture Society when I was in NUS, which is basically a student body. And TAS, as it's known as, is interesting because it actually is a means to bridge the gap between the student body, the profession, and academia, which is why the logo is like a triangle, right? So what you can do, the opportunities that you have if you join TAS is that you will have the chance to work with SIA, the Institute of Architects, as well as with practitioners. So I remember in our time, we actually came here for a visit to see how a normal practice works. There's also the grad show, which is I think a key kind of thing in the calendar for NUS. And it's actually a very wonderful combination, right? So you spend all your time working on the project, and then when it's completed, you have this really nice event to share it with the wider public. And I remember so many of our cohort were like so proud to bring their parents and their siblings and boyfriends, girlfriends to come and see it. Right? Yeah, so those are the nice things we can do. It sounds like everything kind of circulates around school. To be frank, that's really what the experience is. NUS in particular firstly introduces you to the figure of the profession, right? You have to work for your projects in order to realize them. It also makes you kind of push the envelope quite a bit. So when it came to practicing, you do explore as much as you can before you settle on an option or finalize the design. And throughout the whole process, you constantly reevaluate how things are and kind of critically appraise solutions and challenges. It's a difficult industry. It's a calling. Before you join the course, or if you're thinking about joining a course, I think you really have to ask yourself, you're the kind of person who wants to do that kind of work, basically, as opposed to just a nice job. It's more than a job.